Seedream 5 delivers results that are honestly impressive. Is this finally a serious contender that can actually challenge Nano Banana Pro? You'll see exactly why in a second. Just a short while ago, everyone was busy praising Kling 3.0, like there was no tomorrow. And now the AI train has already blasted past the next station. ByteDance didn't just roll out its new video model, they also dropped a new image model, Seedream 5.0 Lite. And before Midjourney tries to flip the table with version 8, it's worth taking a hard, honest look at these two Chinese contenders again, Kling Image 3.0 and Seedream 5.0, with a quick side glance at Nano Banana Pro. Before diving into the image editing features of Seedream 5.0, I want to start with a proper head-to-head. This time, the comparison format is a bit different. On the left is Seedream 5.0, in the center Kling Image 3.0, and on the right Nano Banana Pro. All prompts are listed in the comments, grouped by the individual scenes shown throughout the video. At the end, everything comes together in a matrix that shows how each platform performed overall. In Phase 1, the focus is on evaluating consistent character handling. In Phase 2, the goal is to see how each system deals with genuinely complex prompts. Just to reset the stage for a second, these two characters are the backbone of the whole image series, and honestly, more than a few of these scenes made me laugh out loud. The story kicks off with Scene 1 and goes straight into the deep end. Literally. But before hitting the water, both have to slide their way down first. Comparing the three versions, the models from ByteDance and Google clearly stand out. Nano Banana Pro adds something extra that keeps popping up again and again, a bit more excitement, a bit more life. It feels less like the people were dropped into the image and more like they are actually experiencing what's happening. Kling, by contrast, looks more staged, and the colours come across a bit too loud. The journey continues underwater, and once you jump in, you better expect company. In this case, some well-known predators, which is exactly why you won't find me swimming in deep water. Who knows what's down there just waiting to nibble on a foot? When it comes to shark riding, only Seedream 5.0 actually pulled it off. No matter how many attempts I tried, neither Kling nor Nano Banana Pro managed to keep the people above water. The fact that the guy on Seedream is sitting on the shark the wrong way around gives the whole scene a wonderfully quirky vibe, probably still recovering from the last hangover. Somehow, the two made it from the ocean into a crocodile-filled river. Seedream sticks closest to the prompt here, but all three results are strong, thanks to that misty, mysterious atmosphere. If I had to pick a winner, it would be Nano Banana Pro. The staging has the most depth, and pay close attention to character consistency. It's still very clearly the guy in the red lumberjack shirt, and the elegant woman with the hat, and that holds true across all three platforms. I'm genuinely curious how Midjourney will respond to this one, because it used to be a real pain point there. Next up, the guy trips into a cave while trying to push through the jungle. At that point, it's shovel out and start digging. Seedream's result here is hard not to love. Everything just clicks. Nano Banana Pro also delivers solid work, while Kling Image 3.0 Omni once again trails behind a bit. The AI doesn't really stage the scene, it just places objects sometimes without seeing the bigger picture. The way out of the cave leads straight onto a mountain pass, and then reality hits. The hope of taking a bus down into the valley is gone. A massive rock blocks the road completely. The bus isn't going anywhere. Seedream and Nano Banana Pro are playing in the same league here, but once again, Google's AI adds a touch more cinematic feeling to the image. The locals around the bus are where Kling really falls apart. They look like generic AI people, and on top of that, you can clearly see that Kling still struggles with text. Since the bus route was blocked, the only option left was going straight over the glaciers. And no, it's not just cute fluffy creatures up there. All three platforms follow the prompt exactly when it comes to two polar bears. Penguins showing up was basically guaranteed. Looking at Nano Banana Pro again, this is where the model clearly thinks one step ahead. No winter jackets, so the people must be freezing. The slightly bluish colour cast really sells the cold, and the polar bears look noticeably more realistic than in the other two versions. Next up is scale and spatial depth. Somehow the two manage to get their hands on a tiny vehicle, probably borrowed from some massive mining operation nearby. The scene is pretty absurd in the best way. Once again, Nano Banana Pro nails it, from company names to vehicle types to the overall staging. The other two look solid as well, aside from a few smaller weaknesses. Being the gentleman he is, the guy finds a mount for the journey. Suddenly the high mountains are behind them, and the scene shifts into a warm, inviting landscape. This one goes to Kling. The backlight, atmosphere, and depth of field are spot on and make the image really strong. Nano Banana Pro also looks great here, and character consistency stays intact. And just to be clear, none of these were edits. Every image was generated fresh, using the two characters on a white background as the base. The destination is almost within reach. Now the camera angle changes completely. This time it's a worm's eye perspective, combined with a marathon run between massive skyscrapers and a huge crowd. Seedream 5.0 delivers the best overall look and feel here. Kling, despite pushing a 4K resolution, gives the characters a noticeably plastic vibe. Nano Banana Pro has depth, but the image leans a bit too dark. After all that running, a proper celebration is well deserved. The two end up at Mardi Gras in New Orleans. This scene is all about motion, blur, and atmosphere. Kling sticks closest to the prompt, but it still feels a bit artificial. The Seedream version is excellent, and Nano Banana Pro is strong as well, even though the guy somehow picked up a Hugh Grant vibe, despite multiple attempts. That one definitely wasn't in the prompt. The AI decided that on its own. After the party, both decide to disappear into the wild and build a wooden cabin. The setting's the remote north of Norway, chasing a bit of that Viking life. All three versions are solid. Seedream shows slight issues with the spirit level and the woman's lips. And with Kling Image 3.0, it's worth taking a look at the raw resolution. It's pretty wild. 5120 by 2880 pixels. Let's step things up with a few examples that are a bit more demanding. First up is this Knolling shot, which some of you might remember from my Kling Image 3.0 tutorial. Next to it, the result from Seedream 5.0. At first glance it looks clean, but once you look closer, you notice that some objects aren't lying perfectly flat and aren't shot consistently from straight above. Instead, a few are slightly tilted, which literally distorts the whole composition. Nano Banana Pro is the only one that nailed the correct background color here. Now the difficulty goes up another notch for the next scene. The Knolling image from Nano Banana Pro and the two characters were used as references. There are close to 30 objects or object groups involved. The task was to rebuild a new image using all of them, including visible price tags. The woman sits in a camping chair selling the items, while the man stands in front of the table browsing. I didn't count every single object, but Seedream seems to be the most accurate overall. Kling is missing items, while Nano Banana Pro adds a few extras. Still, the strongest version comes from Nano Banana Pro. The woman is clearly pushing the sale, while the man hesitates, thinking, "Hold on, aren't those actually my things?" Now we're entering truly complex territory. Here's a detailed 3D visualization of a washing machine with labeled functional components. Nano Banana Pro is almost flawless. Kling's result is basically unusable and even includes spelling errors. Seedream also delivers a strong result. The interesting part is that the AI defined the texts on its own. The next example flips that completely. This time, every single word was predefined. The AI had to understand the structure and place each label in the correct position. The kettle example turned out really well, largely thanks to the prompt. A professional, high-end product advertisement showing a precision-engineered electric kettle. Once again, there's a clear winner. Not only is the product shot perfectly framed, but all labels sit exactly where they should. Respect, Google. Ultra-clean monochrome high-key 3D industrial visualization is something I currently need for a client project. All three platforms handle this pretty well. Depending on what you are after, you'll see different interpretations of the same prompt. Nano Banana Pro stays more subtle. Kling pushes contrast harder, and Seedream adds slight colour accents. One of the most impressive results I ever created, back when Nano Banana launched, came from this prompt. Roughly speaking, it described a person running through a burning building, but their presence should only be revealed by the physical displacement of the atmosphere. That's an almost impossible task. Seedream tries but doesn't fully get there. Kling completely fails. Nano Banana Pro, once again, is something to marvel at. And finally, an example that's about as complex as it gets. This one combines text in multiple languages, lighting, reflections, and water. Kling really struggles here. Whatever text ends up in the image clearly wasn't intended. Seedream solves parts of the task, but only Nano Banana Pro goes the extra mile and adds an entire city scene, complete with people, additional neon signs, and vehicles. Sure, it might be a bit much, but Google's AI clearly wanted to make sure it walks away with first place. Time to look at the big picture. In some challenges, there was more than one clear winner. I deliberately focused on details, overall impact, and how closely each result followed the prompt, just to keep things as objective as possible. The takeaway is pretty clear. Seedream is strong and gets surprisingly close to the quality level of Nano Banana Pro. Nano Banana Pro still comes out on top overall, mainly because it handles the really demanding prompts more reliably. I don't want to limit myself, and some image requirements get genuinely complex. Kling is a solid all-rounder, but it does show weaknesses here and there. What stands out to me with Image 3.0 is that some details look overly plastic, and the colours and contrast can occasionally feel too intense. If you want a deeper dive into how to work with Kling Image 3.0 or Image 3.0 Omni, there's a separate tutorial where I go through that in detail. Plenty of interesting insights there. Link in the description. Now let's focus on what Seedream 5.0 offers on Dreamina, specifically in the AI image section. First step is logging in, which works straight through a Google account. There are a couple of ways to approach image creation. The most direct one is the large prompt bar at the top center. Since we're working with images, you select AI image on the far left. Right next to it, choose Image 5.0 Lite, which represents Seedream 5.0 Lite. One step further to the right, you can define aspect ratio, resolution, or even set a fully custom size. The smallest option here already starts at 2K, and after generation, you can upscale the image all the way to 8K, which is pretty impressive. With draw text on image, you can tell the AI that something is meant to be real, readable text. Marking it clearly makes a big difference, and in practice, this works surprisingly well. Using the plus icon, you can also upload reference images, keeping in mind that the system allows a maximum of 6. After that, paste in your prompt and hit Generate on the far right. If you scroll down, the prompt bar collapses and reappears at the bottom of the screen. Clicking it expands the input again. The behavior stays exactly the same. The other option is simply clicking one of the tiles below the prompt bar, AI image in this case, or using the Create button in the left navigation. Both routes take you straight into the Create interface, where the prompt bar also sits at the bottom by default. Now let's look at the features you can activate during image creation, beyond the standard settings. We'll start in the global view, where all generated results are listed one below the other. This is where Dreamina behaves a bit differently. Unlike Midjourney, Google Flow or Kling, new images don't appear at the top. Instead, the latest result always shows up at the bottom. Another thing to note is that you always get 4 image options per generation, and there's no way to change that. Taking a closer look at one of these results, you'll see Edit Prompt below the 4 image set. This simply reloads the full prompt, including all referenced images, back into the prompt bar. Regenerate immediately starts a new image generation cycle, similar to Rerun in Midjourney. Using the 3-dot menu, you can delete the entire 4-image batch at once. When you hover over a single image, a set of additional tools appears. These include Creative Upscale, Upscale in Paint, Expand, Generate Video, Remove and Retouch. I'll break down what each of these does in a moment. If you want to view an image in full size, just click on it. The interface that opens up will feel very familiar. You'll find the same set of functions mentioned earlier, just arranged in a slightly different order. From generate video to regenerate, it's worth paying attention to what you click because some of these options immediately trigger a new generation and usually start consuming credits right away. Why the layout is organized exactly like this is hard to say, since some items don't really belong together thematically, like generate video and edit on canvas. But that's how it's set up for now. We'll skip generate video for now, it's pretty self-explanatory anyway. Edit on canvas opens a large workspace where you can place and edit images freely, a bit like working in Miro. For comparing different editing steps, this setup is actually quite clear. And no worries, there's no node system involved. From the original image, you'll see options like expand, remove background, in paint, remove, and a few others available right away. Creative Upscale lets you push images to 4K or even 8K. Regular upscale tops out at 4K. Retouch works a bit like Very Subtle in Midjourney, although the results can sometimes get a little weird. InPaint opens a dedicated editor where you can mark areas and modify them via prompt. There are paint and erase tools with different brush sizes. Remove is similar to InPaint, but without any prompt input. You just mark the area you want gone and let the AI handle it. Expand opens another editor where you can extend the image by 1.5 times, 2 times, or 3 times, and you can control the result with an additional prompt. The cost for each action is always shown on the white button in the bottom right. Image Editor allows you to edit images either in parts or as a whole. That topic alone could easily fill a separate tutorial, and in a few tests the results weren't always perfect. Edit Prompt works exactly as described earlier. And finally, Regenerate does exactly what you'd expect. If you want to download an image, just click Download above the 4-image set. Quick wrap-up. Seedream 5.0 Lite is genuinely solid, and in quite a few areas it actually outperforms Kling Image 3.0. Text handling still has some weak spots if you don't define things explicitly, but that's exactly where Draw Text on Image really shines. I've prepared a quick example for that, including some less common languages. For me, the platform is especially interesting because it's very likely going to include the new video model, ByteDance 2.0 as well. At some point you have to draw a line. Midjourney, Kling, Dramina, Runway, Suno, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and plenty of others can drain your wallet faster than you expect. And that's definitely not the goal. So make sure you think carefully about whether it makes sense to buy certain AI tools on demand via API, or if a subscription is the better option. Don't get distracted by flashy offers. Always take a step back and check what you actually need. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. See you soon. Your channel, AI Now You Know.